Well, it looks like everyone is in. I'm sure we'll have more people joining us as this time progresses, and we're thankful for all of you to participate in our community forum related to the surplus land at Evergreen Valley College. It's an exciting opportunity for the district and the college to look at opportunities for really continuing to serve and enhance the students it serves, its employees, and the community around us. Today's session is really about gathering input, gathering insight from our communities, from our members in a way that allows us to start thinking strategically about this land, what it can do for us, and how we can look to develop it through the process going forward. So we're going to start off today's session with a little bit of introductions, a little bit about our process, logistics, ground rules for the forum in our virtual setting here, context about the surplus land, and then we'll get right into your feedback and your thoughts on what the district should be considering as a part of it and outcomes related to the land. And so I'll start with an introduction myself. I'm your facilitator for today, Matt Bohannon. I'm with a firm called Brailsford and Dunleavy. I've been working with B&D for almost 17 years now, and in the 30-year history of the firm, we are here to advise and support our institutions of higher education make the change they need to really support their student community, advance their mission, and be that agent of change that they want to be in improving our students and communities' lives. I'd like to toss it over to Dr. Breland to start the introductions, and we can go down the list of the other district staff and affiliated members that are on the forum with us today.
Yeah, thank you so much, Matt. First off, good morning, everybody. We certainly appreciate you joining us. And as Matt mentioned, the goal of this is really to get feedback from folks about the greatest and best use to really continue to serving the community, continue to serve the community around Evergreen Valley College, and certainly to continue to push forward the mission of San Jose Evergreen Community College District. And so, again, thank you all for joining us. And I'm going to kick it back over to Matt, but I just first wanted to acknowledge a couple of the leaders who were here on our 7-member Board of Trustees that we've recognized. And others may join, and we will acknowledge them when they do that. But first off, I want to recognize our board president, Maria Fuentes, who's joined us. I also want to recognize Trustee Omar Torres, who's also joined us. Trustee Craig Mann, and I know that Trustee Karen Martinez will also be joining us if she has not already. It's difficult to see everyone in this virtual format. But I wanted to acknowledge our board members for the great policy, leadership, and fiscal leadership that they do provide for this district. And I'll turn it back over to you, Matt. Thank you for that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Breland. Dr. Gilkerson, would you care to make a brief introduction?
Well, good morning, everyone. Really pleased to be here in community space with you all, looking at and hearing from you directly. So just look forward to hearing your feedback, and thanks so much for making time.
All right. Dr. Chaminade, are you on the forum as well? Nope, not able to make it, right? Jorge Escobar.
Yes, good morning, everybody. I'm happy to see many of you familiar faces here today. Really excited to be a part of this discussion and input session. I'm the Vice Chancellor of Admin Services at the district office.
All right, thank you, Jorge. Terrence?
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see everybody on a Saturday morning. My name is Terrence DeGray. I'm the Associate Vice Chancellor for Physical Plant Development and Operations, and looking forward to hearing your feedback this morning.
Thank you, Terrence. Ryan?
Welcome, everybody. Again, thanks for joining us on a Saturday. We're up to more than 60 participants already this morning, so a good turnout. Good to see everyone.
And Patrick McGarity, are you on the line as well?
I am. Do you guys have me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, Patrick McGarity, Councilmember Arenas' Chief of Staff, and I am just here to make sure that the feedback from the community makes it to the council member as well. So thank you for having me.
Great. Well, again, I'd like to echo everyone's comments and thanks for participation in a process. We're looking forward to hearing from you and your insights on this. Just have a little bit about the process and the ground rules that we're looking to engage here. Why are we here in the first place? What is this forum intended to do? Well, we're here to facilitate that diverse stakeholder engagement, involvement in our process, so that we can understand the range of ideas and creative thinking that you all can help us with. To develop the understanding of those outcomes that will allow for innovative solutions related to the use of surplus land, and it's beginning a process related to community engagement and rethinking of what this parcel of land can do for our community and really for our students in the college. What this form is not intended to do. We're not looking at specific details or specific uses. It's not necessarily say I want an REI or I don't want an REI on this plot of land. It's more so what are those outcomes? What are those vision pieces that we're looking for? What are those elements that are really going to help move us forward and advance San Jose Evergreen Community College District? It's not here to change the mission of the district or the college. Those are already our driving principles of the framework that we're working under. And we're not here to debate the merits of community participants' engagement, what their comments are, or their particular viewpoints. We're here to listen. We encourage all of you that are participating also to share your viewpoints rather than having questions or debates with other members in the community. We are looking at participation with a few different ways that we're collecting information. For the Zoom meeting today, we are looking at the raise your hand functionality. That is a part of the Zoom app. There's a couple screenshots there. If you are using the app on your computer, it would be the left image. If you're using your phone or an iPad, probably more the image on the right in terms of where you can find those reactions and be able to raise your hand. We will address those participants in order that we see them on the chat list or on the screen. So bear with us as we look through. I know a lot of people are likely to have comments, so we'll just be moving through this process. We will call on those individuals to participate. At that time, you can unmute yourself and participate. We ask that you do stay in mute the rest of the time just to be sure that we have as clear audio as possible for those participating and providing feedback. For those that are just participating on the phone itself, *9 will raise and lower your hand. So just know that you have that option as well. We are asking that we keep a track of about 2 minutes for timing for you to provide your input. Knowing that we have 60+ participants, we want to be sure that we can incorporate and hear from as many individuals as possible during this process. If there is time at the end and we don't have additional participation, we'd be happy to recall on people. But again, please be concise and clear with your 2 minutes. Being the audio and visual function that we have with Zoom is not the only means of communicating. We have the chat function that is available also to provide feedback. So you see that, you could enter into that, and ties into the elements of really what we're looking for. So all that'll be collected. You will also see on the screen, on the bottom right portion of the slide, a URL. Ryan, I believe, will drop that into the chat function as well. And that is an online form that you will be able to fill out as well that ties into the database that we'll have to follow up with individuals. So if you do want to follow up, you can fill out that form, add your contact information. There's a area to add comments and specific feedback as well. And then also look at that. If you do want the future follow-up, please be sure to provide us your contact information, otherwise we won't know how to reach you. So ground rules, looking at it from element of 2-minute time limit for participants, 1 speaker at a time will be called. Please remain muted, already brought that up. Please remain civil and respectful of the comments that are of others and yourself, and that we are looking to be that they're representative of your insight and your unique viewpoint in providing aspects and outcomes for this project. We're here again to gather information. It's not a question and answer session. This is not a place or a forum where decisions will be made. It ties into really us getting that unique sense of creative drivers, putting our heads together and brainstorming and thinking with all of our community partners in all aspects of our college and district. How can we find some unique solutions, some out-of-the-box thinking that may address a number of items that everyone is supportive of. So with that, we will turn it over to Jorge to give a little bit more context on the land itself.
Thank you, Matt, and once again, good morning. Over the past 2 years or so, I have learned a lot about Evergreen Valley College. Previously, I was housed at San Jose City College, so I was really embedded with that college, but I fell in love with Evergreen and the development that is taking place over there. It's a place that, I don't know if you've walked the campus lately, it's a place that now you can feel, proud of having a wonderful college. with outstanding infrastructure and facilities developed over the past 5 or 6 years. Primarily, the campus is looking really good. As I give a little bit of history related to this project, this goes back 50 plus years when in November of 1967, the Board of Trustees decided to buy around 140 acres of land. And that's the land where Evergreen Valley College and the now surplus land sits. No bond money got used for that acquisition. And then the campus started to be built, through the following years, around 1972. And that's one of the reasons why Evergreen Valley College will turn 50 in 2025. After that, a few years later, there was already the first development in the corner of San Felipe and Yerba Buena. After a process of RFPs and getting the best value, that land got leased to Imwali. Don Imwali and company have done a great job in keeping that area vibrant. And that is around 6 acres of land that got leased to Imwali after that process. From there, I remember when I joined the district and San Jose City College, the district office used to be in that land, the same as the police academy. But those buildings got really, really old and were not the best environment. I remember, let me tell you a story. Once I went to a meeting and I went into this room where the vending machines were, and these black squirrel jumped out of the vending machine, underneath the vending machine, and that really kind of gave a signal that those buildings were not in the best shape. So in a very wise decision, the Board of Trustees acquired the property at 40 South Market where the district office moved into, leaving those buildings empty. And then obviously the police academy also moved out. So that's the area that right now has been fenced off. And since then, we also demolished that location. In 2004, going back a little bit in time, in 2004, the Board of Trustees also in another, wise decision declared, the property of the 27 acres about as a surplus property. And this is in compliance with Ed Code. And part of the process was also notifying agencies in case any agency was interested in the surplus land. And that was in adherence, obviously, to Ed Code and government code. Through that process, we had opportunities to review the land, understand what we can do. And then from there, after the district office moved out and the police academy stopped their activities, we established a process for request for proposals and letters of intent and the whole process leading to a potential development in the 27 acres. From there, there's a lot of history that has taken place in between. With exclusive negotiating agreements in place, looking for developers to move the designation of the area. And from there, we've had multiple sessions and meetings to go through the change from a public, quasi-public land designation to the NCC neighborhood designation that got approved in 2016. And since 2019, we've made the decision to stop the process. The exclusive negotiating agreement that we had in place ended. And from there, the district is reassessing what to do with the land and the property. And I think that's the primary reason that we're here today, to listen again to the community, understand what vision do you have for an institution of higher education in the area, but also, looking at a potential development that will help us, accomplish both goals, create some revenue generation for supporting students and student activities and student success, but also that will allow us to commingle the activities with the actual mission of the college and the district in general terms. So with that, basically in these past few minutes, I narrated 50 years of history of the space, and there's plenty of details and documentation that, if interested, we will be happy to provide as well. And with that, I pass it back to you, Matt.
Great, thank you, Jorge. And so now, getting back into the meat of why we're here, to hear from you. I do want to just refresh everyone's aspect. I know we had more people, looks like, joining in the process as well, but again, we're asking individuals to keep their remarks to 2 minutes. I'll gently remind you of that time, ask you to wrap up with some final points. I'll be calling on the speakers, do my best to manage through the process of holding hands. I already see we have one. We ask that everyone does remain muted through this process unless they're actually called upon, so that we can hear the participants individually. And then also look at this as a way to really gather insightful information, thinking outside of the box, thinking about outcomes that are really going to be a part of this, and that we're not in a question, answer, or debate type of period. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that we can have everyone's video camera pop up a little bit larger so we can see everyone's faces. So give me 1 minute for that. And then our first individual that I saw was John Goldstein. If you would care to start your comment period.
Thank you. Yes, I am John Goldstein. I am pastor of Grace Church of Evergreen, and I've been a pastor there for the last 13 years and have longed to see development of that property for the use of education. One of my major concerns is I do believe the terminology is incorrect. You should not be calling it surplus land or excess land. This really is educational land. It was purchased by trustees. Trustees don't own property, they are trustees, and they bought it with the intention of developing a college there. And we would love to see this land used for educational purposes. We have tremendous needs in East San Jose. We have many students, people who go to community colleges all around the city, but don't go to our own local community college. And there needs to be more focus in developing a program there that's really going to help to be a much better feeder into the college system, or to develop programs which provide youth with education or trades where they don't even need to go to college. And I think full four-year college, I should say. And I think the COVID-19 experience has shown us things that could be done outside of college education as well as inside in a residential context. My concern too is to see that we don't allow this land to just be used for commercial purposes. Over the last 30 years, we feel like it has been really just any money that's come out of that college system, should I say East Evergreen Evergreen seems to go to the community district, not to develop Evergreen Valley College. And we would really love to see that grow with a much better focus on education and how you're going to use this land to improve the quality of life of our lower income students and also our local residents to get the kind of education they need locally. There are a lot of people who are very well educated in Evergreen who could provide a lot of input also into how to develop a very innovative educational program that we do not have today.
All right, thank you, John. That's your 2 minutes. Appreciate your comment. Next up, Catherine Hedges.
Good morning. My camera's not working today, but my name is Catherine Hedges. I don't actually live in the district, so I probably don't have the highest priority opinion, but it seems like students, faculty, and staff always need housing, and housing is a huge need in San Jose in general, so that would be a good purpose for the land. But also training in trades is good because we don't have enough people in the building trades. There's a labor shortage. So I would support both of those, either of those. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Daniel,
Good morning. Wishing you and your families are safe from the pandemic. I appreciate the new Evergreen Valley College Board of Trustees and administration leadership for providing this forum to have a dialogue regarding the 27 acres of land. Some of you know me to have been quite outspoken about my opposition to the leasing of the 27 acres for a period of 90 years for non-educational purpose. To me and our community residents, it did not make sense and still doesn't. One thing I can be sure of, none of us will be here to celebrate the returning of that land if that were to be the case. I also want to mention that I was one of Evergreen Valley community members that was present when the hiring of the consultant firm made their presentation regarding the 27 acres at the Senate. And I was appalled that they did not allow one single acre to be used for future educational purpose. That raised my suspicion that the consultants were only emulating the back then Board of Trustees and the outsider chancellor's mindset. What I am requesting from your leadership is to be courageous. Think what your footprint will mean to the future of Evergreen Valley College, Evergreen Valley community, and San Jose East Side at large. I propose we use part of the 27 acres for a science museum, which can become a magnet for all of the East Side students from elementary to high school. If you cannot imagine supporting such a project, I emphatically must say that the wheels of the Evergreen College will continue to spin with no traction to go forward. In conclusion, Evergreen College should have no less of an ambitious project than those in the West Side so that our students can also have the capacity to be employed in the high-end technology workforce. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Now we have a number of comments in the chat that have been going with additional information. Is there other individuals that would like to raise their hand and participate and share their thoughts on outcomes and vision? Bonnie Mace.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Mace, formerly of the Evergreen School District. So I want to talk about placemaking because it's something that I think is visionary. And, you know, the Evergreen Valley College, the 27 acres fronts on the side going into the college. And I feel like it's very important that whatever gets put there is a place that people come to as a way of placemaking. That's very important for the city of San Jose. We're really trying to look at things that encourage people to come to it. So I agree with what everyone else has said in terms of let it be educational, let it serve the students, the staff, and also let it serve the community. So I feel like this is really a time that we can think about being visionary, whether it's a science museum, whether it's an aquatic center, whether it's something special that we have here that is nowhere else. Like I know we have automotive technology, things that really attract students to this area. So that's my main point. Let the principle be placemaking and something really important that draws people to Evergreen. Thank you.
Thank you, Bonnie. Rex R.
Hi, am I live?
Yes.
I can hear myself. Okay. So I want to thank you all, by the way, for putting this together and pulling the community to get to provide input and hear what each other's got to say. In terms of the property itself, I like most of the others that mentioned support that the property have some sort of direct or at least a very strong indirect relationship to providing educational programs, if you will. Even if, like, for example, if it's commercial, that these commercial establishments are directly associated with providing some sort of a certification degree and credit from the college that we, you know, anybody who leases to do commercial there would commit to doing that with a number of programs at the department. Also, I would support, of course, educational facilities there. And, you know, I'm looking at the need that I would talk about doing four-year college degrees. We've got a lot going on that's changed in the last couple of years with the COVID and additional requirements I believe have come along that I think that the college needs to redo their educational plan and reconsider what is currently needed and for the future, as well as their facilities plan, which I understand, by the way, that the 27 acres was directly not included in the last assessment that was done for the educational plan. I also think that we need to assess and I'm not going to give numbers, we're talking quite a few students who are having to attend other colleges because they cannot get the education that they need from our local college here. And we need to actually go and ask them why and what they need to have them be able to attend a college in their own local community and not have to travel across town. That pretty much captures everything else that I wanted to say. So I'm going to give the rest of my time, if I can, to Robert Reese.
All right, you actually were just perfectly there on 2 minutes, Rex, so thank you for that. Robert, would you care to join?
Hello, everyone. With a genuine, and can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. With a genuine and sincere sense of purpose and active listening, we can accomplish a lot. It helps if we all do our homework. It doesn't mean it's going to be easy. When the various environmental consultants have looked at this site, the city has looked at this site, it's described as a suburban rural site. Whatever uses occur there ought to take that into account. It's important. When the city evaluated the uses of the property during the general plan hearings, they described it as a transit deficient site. They only recommended half of the site be for commercial uses. Looking at the setting, the Yerba Buena portion of the site is designated on the city general plan as scenic rural. That has a great feel. I don't know how many of you have been around there. In our working with your prior development partner, we had been making a lot of progress on design considerations. It's not easy. It works better when everyone starts working together at the beginning of the process. But we were getting heights, 2-3 stories, setbacks that were fitting of the setting. We've been working with the team of Terrence, Vice Chancellor for buildings on the EIR. We've been stressing that there be an integrated approach to looking at the site, that you need to look at the whole because it's more than the sum of the parts. B&D has talked about commercial uses being deeply embedded in the site. I'm wondering what those uses could be and what the commercial use could be. What about radiological technology, diagnostic imaging? A 2-year program gets you a relatively high-paying job at $80,000, $90,000 a year. Why are the community colleges in Texas and Florida able to do that and we can't do it? What commercial uses could achieve that sort of thing? How am I on time?
You've hit your 2-minute mark. If you have another quick point, be happy to have you say that before we toss it over for others.
I will hope that there's more time later. Thank you all.
All right. Thank you, Robert. I will note your request for more time. Is there another participant? All right. Well, Robert, I don't see anyone else raising their hand. If you'd like to continue on for another session, be happy to let you do that.
I'd like to raise my
really
hand.
Quickly,
This is Wesley.
I see thumb. Oh, okay. Sorry about that. I was just going to say that I think some folks are using a thumbs up feature. If you scroll across, and Wesley, I saw that you were one of them, and there at least were two others. So just to let you know that, Matt, and then we can of course come back to Mr. Reese as well. Robert, thank you.
Thank you, Albert. Wesley, would you please care to share?
Yeah, thank you for taking my call. Yes, and I really appreciate the district for opening up this meeting. And I recall way back in 2016 how the climate was very much different and very, very close. And I'm hopeful that the administration and the city council and the board of trustees will be much more open to the community and their inputs and really take it to heart, what we have to say. And I just wanted to say just a couple of suggestions. I don't know, I know we're not going to talk about any specifics, but one of the things I think that if you were to build anything on there or have a focus, consider the healthcare field, both in practical education as well as services. I think that we as baby boomers, like it's myself, we're getting older, and that bulge in the population is moving up, and certainly that's going to be in more and more demand as time goes on. Now, the second thing is to consider, high-tech education, the emerging fields. I know when I went to high school, I learned German, and I promptly forgot it, when I left high school. But if I had learned, some programming today, if I learned a programming language such as Java or Python, Verilog, C++, whatever that may be, some of these languages, that could be translated directly, into, dollars. It's not unheard of for younger engineers to start out, 60, 70, 80K, or even beyond that. So, I think you should be aware of the emerging high-tech fields, and then have programs and certificate programs, whatever it may be, to feed into the industry and even connect with industry itself to find out how you can train the students to fit right into these industries. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, there's a lot of taxpayers around Evergreen, obviously paying taxes, and I think would be a very good gesture by the district is to provide some public spaces. I think there's kind of mentioned, it could be parks, it could be places of gathering, meeting places, whatever it may be, but consider the community and giving back to the community what the community actually has put in financially. And so I really would appreciate that would be a consideration. So thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Wesley. I did notice that there is, I think, another hand up or a thumbs up. Mike Hernandez.
Thank you, and thank you for conducting this meeting. I think it's nice to get input from the community. One of the basic foundations is the school is basic aid. Basic aid to me is kind of misnamed. It should be community funded because it really is coming out of community funds, our property taxes locally. But I want to share with you a couple of things. One of the ones that I thought would be good was to have some dormitory or some really small apartment complex built on the campus. And that's for faculty. Many of the faculty and staff live outside the Bay Area, and because of affordability. A lot of our students, we can attract students from out of state and outside the local area to come to our college. And the reason I bring that up is we have now started an advanced manufacturing program at our college. It just started. And we realized that we really aren't supporting our manufacturing industry very well, or industry in general. So there's lots of room for growth if we want to support our manufacturing and other industries in the Bay Area and train their employees. So there's plenty of room for growth. I think a lot of people brought up that there's lots of things we could do as a college to advance and enhance our educational programs. The other one is, what have we lost? Well, we used to have a daycare center. That's gone away. It seems like there's some things we could do for our students and to help support them in their education, such as childcare facilities. My Tesla program, I had students from out of state, and I found out after their 12 weeks that 4 of my students were living in their cars for 12 weeks. They couldn't afford any apartment. They couldn't afford anything in the Bay Area. And they lived in their cars for 12 weeks. So that's a clear indication that we need to do something to help support our students in some kind of living environment on our campus. It could be shared with any school in the Bay Area. So thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Nick P.
Sorry, that's actually Nick Pham. Thank you, I guess, to the staff and you for hosting this community meeting. Just one clarification or point of disclosure. I actually was a planning commissioner serving the city of San Jose doing 14 to 18. So I think this land came up during my term. And, I think we supported the thought of using the college land for other use. I, however, get caught by the term surplus, you already heard. And the use of the land is something that I've kind of caught my attention. Because when you look at, the intention of the land, it's always been, something educated or education related. And I think the echo from everyone that's spoken say that, address that over and over. But if you look beyond that, if you look at the 2040 plan and, the Evergreen Pacific plan that I believe is in revision right now, I mean, we got to fit in the question that the specific Evergreen residents are asking for. And I don't think I hear any of those points being addressed. Housing is always going to be the biggest question you're probably going to hear. We may not be able to address it. We may not be able to do it on, the college land, but it's something that we need to address. And if you look at, I think some statistics that just came out, 2020, City of San Jose only built 800 unit of housing for being the largest, one of the largest cities in the state. We are behind Oakland. We are behind some of the other city. This is an opportunity for us to make that right adjustment. I mean, I would love to see more students coming into, Evergreen College. I grew up here. I bought a house even before the Evergreen High School was built. I used to ride my bike across all of the orchards, all the way to Evergreen. Love seeing the school, love seeing the temple, love seeing the housing. I mean, that land, I think could be better used. That we probably need to explore all the options that address the residents as well. And I think you heard it over and over. So just want to share that point.
Thank you, Nick.
Sorry, I don't know how to turn my hand raising off.
You're good.
Okay.
All right. Robert, I will return to you as I don't see any other hands up if you'd like to have another comment added to the discussion.
Thank you. I realize the preference of the trustees and the administration to rely upon the opinions of their consultants, and that they believe it is very important that their consultant told them they only needed 130 acres for the Evergreen Valley campus. But I also think there's other information that's available that belies the fact that these are highly subjective considerations. In your capital plan for real estate acquisition, the last time I looked, you had money budgeted to acquire Church of the Rock. One of the speakers referenced, can you believe it, that you closed down a child care center on the campus? When the administration was interested in looking at the Hispanic University campus on Story Road, you didn't even follow your own policies to design an educational master plan, and then the facilities master plan, and then you fit your real estate decisions into the context of what you know to be your typical planning process. The determination of what surplus is subjective. What I'd like to ask is that there be a few deliverables as a result of this meeting. On numerous occasions, we have asked the administration, what is the status of the aquatic swim center that was pitched to the community during the 2016 bond measure? At least 3 times. This probably is the 4th time. Also, we've asked, what are the meetings that the district is having with the county regarding the district's real estate holdings? We're looking at this comprehensively, want to understand how the pieces of the puzzle fit together. Those two things are reasonable questions to receive answers on. In terms of deliverables, I'd like to stress that it's important that there be a very good recordation of the minutes, and that some of us participated in the EIR process that Terrence's group did, and we stressed the integrated planning of the site, looking at the environmental impact statements. There have been discussions on the part of the district that you may want to use some of the 27 acres for educational purposes. We want to see that in the educational master plan so we can see it in the educational facilities plan. This is the way your process works. This is a reasonable request. In the evaluation of the EIR, we copied the chancellor and copied Terrence with very specific ideas. Terrence very graciously said he would consider them. So we're looking to see that they're sincerely considered when this comes back to the board. I don't want to continue in case anyone else wants to talk. I do have other comments, but I encourage other people to share their opinions.
Yeah, thank you, Robert. And I just want to chime in here and, remind folks that, this is about ideas for 27 acres. And while we do appreciate the feedback, Robert Reese, I do want to keep the meeting focused on why folks are here. This is why we set it up, and we can talk about the other items before. We know nothing has been perfect. The idea is to bring people together and use this time and space to hear thoughts about what we want to do with the property. So I hope you don't mind. I have to interject and make sure that folks remember that that's really why we're here today. So if you don't get any comments from us on any of the feedback you gave us, that's the reason why. And I also want to recognize the fact that any of our trustees that are here are not, they're joining us to kind of listen, but they're not speaking because it is, we're not following the Brown Act, and we do in fact have a quorum of trustees. And so we just want to make sure that we don't overstep that. So I want to mention that. So those of you may be thinking that they're not talking, they're certainly interested in all of this, and this has the district's full attention. But we want to focus on getting your thoughts and ideas and creativity about what to do in that space in this moment. So I wanted to add that, and we see some more hands up. So I'll turn it back over to you, Matt, to continue facilitating. All right.
Thank you. Rex, I do see your hand up, but I do have a couple people that have yet to participate, so I'd like to get to them first, if that's okay. Barry Del Buono?
Yes, I'm Barry Del Bono, and I'm a faculty member at San Jose City College. I have taught at Evergreen Valley College. I'm also a commissioner with the City of San Jose Housing. So just to kind of let you know that. I echo housing on the property, specifically for teachers and low-income students. And I know that that's been already stated. And I know that to do the housing, we would have to go through some, jump through some hoops because it's not done before with junior college. But I think that's the wave of the future, and I think we're looking towards the future. So I'd like to mention that.
All right, thank you, Barry. Janet Holt.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I would like to just throw out a couple of suggestions. Just looking at what some of the students have spoke about in terms of their enjoyment of Evergreen Valley College, and trust me, it sounds like they do. And there's so many programs that assist and help these kids. Parking being one of the issues, though, apparently that's difficult to do. So perhaps a little bit more parking in there. And then expanding on the nursing program might be a great idea. Maybe putting a world-class building in there and expanding that to also include physician's assistant, where they can really expand and make a pretty decent salary. And then high tech, perhaps a world-class emerging technology center encompassing things like Internet of Things, the Bitcoin, whatever is emerging at these times. And then also another draw looking at the students that go there, perhaps better or more world-class soccer fields, other sports fields that encompass the kids that go there. So that, and also taking a survey of the high school kids and the current students that go there, what they would like to see at the campus. Okay, that's it.
All right, thank you, Janet. Rex, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. My name is Rex Randalls, and my second time on the scene here. So I wanted to point out that actually there's a lot of good ideas, some of which I like more than others, but that isn't what we're here to discuss today, is which idea is best. But my point is that I think that process is important, and that the result of these meetings shouldn't be, so who's got the best idea? The result of the meeting should be what is the best needs of the college and the students and the education, which is why I want to go back to the process question of, we really do need an educational plan and a facilities plan that determines the needs that we have before us and how we're going to meet them, and then how the 27 acres fits in. So with all these good ideas, I still think, to a couple of Robert's points, process is very important, and we need to make sure we honor that as much as we can.
All right. Thank you. Jim Zito. Jim, are you there?
Yes, I had to unmute. Thank you. Right. So I'm listening closely to what people are saying, and it seems that you're interested in ideas. Well, the overwhelming ideas I hear today are ones for education, ones that support education, support educational programs, and to use the land to do exactly that. In the past, it's been suggested that by putting commercial in there, you could raise some money, and that money would go toward, supporting the community college district, which, as basic aid, we know that at least Evergreen was doing okay, and the amount of money that was going to be generated was very small compared to what the value of that land could otherwise be. Being on the school board for over 11 years, being on the planning commission for 8, the one thing that's pretty clear is using sites for innovation, right? The one thing that we are lacking is space in this valley, right? That's why property values go up so quickly, and we don't have places to put things. One thing that became very clear during this pandemic was the need for students to be able to go somewhere and do remote classes in an environment that could support them technologically, like, for instance, having the proper bandwidth and having the facilities and well, the laptops, if you will, to be able to handle that kind of streaming. I think you're going to see going forward that there's going to be a lot more of this remote learning and even remote jobs. So if it's possible to use that site partially to provide a facility for students to use it to take remote classes and to support them in the technological needs of having the Wi-Fi there and so forth, right? And I have to go back to what was said about planning, right? I do believe that if you fail to plan, your plan will fail. There's no question about it. Being a certified project planning and program planning professional, you have to plan and you have to put timeframes and milestones and key indicators in place. Otherwise, you'll never reach your goal. Okay, so reaching out to the community, ensuring that the community has input, ensuring that the needs of the community are met, and the different programs are available for the students, and having the facilities there, and making sure you take into consideration the geographical aspects. If I understand correctly, there's a earthquake fault that goes right through the middle of the campus. And if I understand correctly, the 27 acres is actually a pretty safe place to put buildings and structures for educational purposes, where some others may not be. So you need to take all that into consideration in your planning.
Thank you, Jim. Janet, I see that you have your hand up again. Is that would you like to add another comment? Was that a holdover from before?
Oh, that was a thumbs up to Jim's comment. Sorry about that.
Okay. Oh, no, no problem. Just wanted to be sure I didn't miss anyone. So thank you. Elaine, I see your hand up. Would you care to share?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, my name is Elaine Ortiz-Christich. I am actually a part of the AFT 6157 at Evergreen College. I currently work for the Enlace program as the co-chair. Our mission is to work with Chicano Latinx students. And I see the 27 acres. Oh, before I even go with the 27 acres, I want you to know that I was born and raised on the east side, attended Evergreen in San Jose State. So I know the needs of the community and the students that we serve. It is vital that these acres are preserved for students in the east side. I continue for a long time hearing, oh, Evergreen, Evergreen. No, it is the east side. We have a local community neighborhood that is called Sal Si Puede. Sal Si Puede basically means come out of that if you can. In order for anyone to come out of anything, we need education. I have comadres that are on the east side and their kids are going to De Anza. Why? Because we don't offer the things that we need to offer. So my vote here and my comment to everyone today is those 27 acres, they need to be used for educational purposes. Thank you.
Thank you, Elaine. Bonnie, I see your hand up again. Think
Yeah,
you're good to
no one
go.
else. If no one else has a comment, does anyone else? So speaking about what the last speaker was talking about, so we have to, I don't know if you're working on talking to the east side, but you know, this community for the college goes all the way down to Morgan Hill and you know, we serve the entire east portion of the county. So I think that when you do these community meetings, you need to enlarge the scope and also talk to the east, you know, the Alum Rock area, the Morgan Hill area, and those areas to have a broader range for the area that we consider to be community and serving the community, because those kids are going to other areas that should be coming here. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Bonnie. Sandra, I did see that there was a thumbs up from you. I don't know if that was a request to join in as well or response to a comment.
Come on up. Sandy's gonna come on over to my computer. She's having trouble getting hers unmuted. Hold on.
You got another hand if you want to.
Good morning.
Call on someone.
Can you hear me
okay,
now?
she's there.
Yes, we can hear you, Sandy.
So am I speaking or not?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
So I wanted to say that I also want to say that I think this land should be used for education. We have a minimum of 17,000 students leaving San Jose Evergreen Community College District and attending other community colleges. And before we, I look at this land as vacant land, not as surplus land. We need to be looking at the educational needs of the community. I've heard from board members that students like driving to the other community colleges. And I want to say that nobody likes driving 2.5 or 3 hours a day going to another college. I'd also like to say that there are students from this side of town that leave 5 a.m. in the morning, not since the pandemic, but before, to attend a 9 o'clock class at De Anza. And I think that our community would be better served for students to be able to attend locally our local college and not to have to do that long commute or to be put in a long day. None of us like being in traffic for 2 to 3 hours a day. So I think this land should be used for education. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Have a hand up from Gam.
Okay. Yeah, I'm Gum Nguyen. I'm a counselor at Evergreen College, and I'm also a community member in Evergreen. I hear a lot of, when I talk to the students, I hear a lot of them, they always complain to me. They say that how come, we don't have any vocational programs like the ENSA. So why do they have to travel, too long, to the ENSA? And here the Evergreen, we don't have, many, 2 years program, such as lab assistant or medical transcribing, all of those, the certificate, at least they can get a job. Okay, so that's why I am for education on behalf of my students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Judy, I see your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I echo a lot of the comments. I'm a villager, a senior citizen. I also attended Evergreen and San Jose State. I think that definitely should be done for more education, but I am concerned with the community. I think that it would be nice to have something just special for the community, whether it's a museum or some kind of, I think the more people go to the campus, the more interest they would have on the campus. And the other thing that maybe the childcare, I think it's very important. A lot of students cannot attend if they don't have the childcare. I also think that something like technical writing, if you don't have it already, would be very beneficial. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. I did notice a couple people have, they raised a thumb, and again, I don't know if that was in response to a comment. That actually disappears fairly quickly compared to a raised hand. So if there are others that are looking to talk, please hit that reaction button again so I can see that pop up on my screen. Marjorie.
Good morning. My name is Marjorie Clark, and I am a counselor and faculty member at Evergreen Valley College. I think that this land was intended for and should be for educational purposes. And serving students serves the community. So I don't see the distinction about having facilities or services for the community versus the students. I also don't see the distinction between EVC and San Jose City College. What helps one college helps the other. I am always disturbed by the fact that we don't offer enough programs and services for our students. We talk about equity, opportunity, and justice, and I always ask the question, for whom? We're serving a population, rather we're not serving the population that we should be serving in East San Jose and our students. And I think this is a tragedy. Why should our students in our area not have the resources and the programs that other colleges have? As a counselor, I'm always looking at what programs are available at other colleges. And I have to refer students to other schools because we have a lot of general education classes, but we don't offer enough of other classes that vocational classes or transfer courses that students need. And I think this needs to be the focus on students first, education first, education lasts. Thank you.
Thank you, Marjorie. Raquel, I see that your hand is up.
Yeah, I have to agree with the last couple of speakers. I'm a retired counselor from Eastside Union High School District. And the same thing, you know, we've had a couple of our students, or a few of our students, go on to Evergreen and do really well. And, you know, Evergreen College do really well. And they graduate and transfer to the UC schools or private schools of, you know, their #1 dream schools. And so it is attainable. But on the other hand, the majority of our students see Evergreen as an extension of a local high school. And just looking at the class offerings and the programs, they would rather get on a bus and go to De Anza than get on a bus or ride their skateboard down White Road to go to Evergreen. Now, over the last few years, of course, there's new buildings going up, which makes the school look really, really attractive and everything. So I think it's starting to go in the right direction, but I agree. With those 27 acres, we need to make Evergreen College attract the students that live in this side of town, you know, like the Alum Rock, like East Side, Morgan Hill, you know, this whole side of town, because this is what's going to give them the opportunity to go to their 4-year school, to get a 2-year degree, a technical degree, you know, to get a job, especially when the majority of kids that are on this side of town are kids of color. And I was involved in programs at my high school that would encourage kids to enter the STEM field or to enter the tech field. Well, this is where Evergreen Valley College would help those kids get jobs out there in Silicon Valley. So I think there has to be a equitable, I guess, distribution, or you know, if we're going for revenue or if we're going for education. But education, I think, is first for our kids that live in this side of this side of the valley.
Right. Thank you, Raquel. Robert, I see that you have your hand up for more ideas and opportunities for the site.
Yes, I just wanted to set the context for when Mark, your group B&D presented the core infrastructure integrated management plan to the board in the fall of 2019. Shortly thereafter, the administration solicited from the District 8 Community Roundtable our ideas for putting together a workshop. It was very involved. There were numerous emails back and forth. Just piggybacking on the comments of some of the other speakers, Trustee Nassau was very, very clear that he thought that this should be broader than just Evergreen. We are all one. We are City College. We are the East Side. So that the context of this meeting, with the limited nature of the scoping that I want to respect, that Chancellor Brilliant has suggested, is very, very different than the approach that the district itself initiated with us in 2019, and we participated in. There was no contact before this meeting, agenda items posted on the website. I don't know where we can get the items that were presented today. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Demi Yang.
Hi, I am a student. I don't know if I'm allowed to make a comment.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I am a student at San Jose City College. We started in the child development program. I also take class at De Anza College, and I just want to echo the comment made earlier. Before, we do have a daycare, but now we don't have it. And then it makes us to go to De Anza College because they do have a on-campus facility will grant us to work hour to further to get our certificate, because a lot of certificate and degree are required for certain working hour with child. And the Anza colleges make it easier because they have a daycare center on the campus. So I was hoping the land can be used for educational progress to support students on the outcome, whether the degree they choose. And also last comment is I hope there's some land was preserved as a nature wetland or something just untouched. So our community can get into the nature more a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you, Demi. Appreciate that. Janet, I see your hand up as well. If I can just scroll through real quick 1 second. I see, oh, it disappeared on me. I saw another thumbs up. So, Janet, if you would care to add in another comment.
Sure. I really appreciated the last speaker, the student speaking. Thank you very much. So it sounds to me like there's a very big need, especially in this area for the childcare. And I think that maybe number one, that you bring that back and then quickly, like get that going right away. And I think you'll draw a lot more students in. Also, I am a product of San Jose City College. I also went to De Anza and West Valley. So, you know, I didn't go to Evergreen because it really wasn't available to me at that time. It was not built yet. But I just think you need to really listen to the students, bring in the daycare back, because you are taking the students from this area. There's no doubt these kids are coming from the East Side and Evergreen area, and then also bring back the classes that they need to transfer or finish up their education. But I really would like to see some high tech in there as well. So that's it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Janet. And I want to echo and thanks to all that have participated in the session today. It's been great to hear the feedback. We've gotten some interesting ideas as a part of this, and this is something that's going to be continuing through this effort. As was noted, there's a few ways to continue the engagement. There is an online form that we had on the screen. Ryan just added that into the chat as well, so everyone can click a link on that. We've been monitoring the chat. We have email addresses through there as a part of this, and I had some that were directly messaged to me. I'm going to be sure that they get into the database as well. And so wanted to turn it over to Dr. Breland to talk a little bit about those next steps that we will be looking into as a part of this process, so that everyone has a sense of where we may be going and what is coming out of this going forward.
Yeah, well, first, thank you, Matt, for facilitating. And I also want to extend a thank you to everybody for taking the time to be here with us on Saturday. Here, and it also just underscores the point how important what we do in serving the community and providing education, job training is to everyone, as it certainly is to us and our Board of Trustees. And we know the value of Evergreen Valley College. We know the value of San Jose Evergreen Community College District. The 27-acre surplus land has been, with the district for a number of years. There's lots of input. And again, I want to thank those of you who are offering your input to us today and always. And I know some members from District 8 have been really, engaged. And I want to thank you for your engagement, throughout the time. And it feels like a lot of time has gone by as we're all coming out of, as we're speaking now, into a Zoom meeting. But we wanted to make sure that this occurred. We know there's been some time lapses due to the pandemic and due to other complications with previous items to use the land, previous developers, et cetera. But we are committed to making sure we hear from the community, and we are going to manage process as we go through this. And we're hoping that, we take some of the comments, and again, next steps will be to sort of go back and continue getting your feedback. Folks have turned in comment cards. I want to remind folks that the recording will be available online. If you did not get a chance to drop your email address into the chat, please do so. We'll make sure you have access to the recording. But next steps are going to be such that, we're going to analyze the information. We're going to continue the conversation. The board is going to get this information compiled and synthesized, and they're going to have discussion. And we're going to talk about next steps. Additional analyses and due diligence on these potential options will take place. And there will be additional coordination. I've also heard the educational facilities master plan mentioned. It will be coordinated through that process whereby that already exists. And I think we are going to be engaged in that moving forward over the next year, where there is an educational master plan that looks at programs and opportunities locally as well as beyond regionally. And I appreciate some of the comments that were made about this land does belong to the entire district. It does belong to looking at opportunities serving East San Jose, as well as folks who are in our service area, entire service area, that is. Some of the ideas that we also heard today revolved around aquatic center, childcare came up a number of times, emerging high-tech programs with livable wage jobs as outcomes, more vocational career training programs, ideas in terms of placemaking, going back to some of the original comments, and of course, housing continues to be a challenge. And I know there are many others. Again, we're going to synthesize this information, but I want to thank you all for those thoughts. And I want to, make a few other closing comments on, where we are. And I want people to feel a sense of pride about where you live and the fact that you have a community college in your backyard. Folks who've attended Evergreen Valley College for years, the nursing program that has put out really a tremendous amount of support during this pandemic has been key and has put over, I think, about more than 1,400 nurses that have served the immediate area have come from that program. So ideas to expand medical and healthcare, great. Great thinking as to how we can build off of what's there. But I really want to remind folks that you have a really world-class institution in your backyard. Has been recognized actually recently as one of the better values in Northern California for higher education. And you can look that up, but I think they were I'm looking at Dr. Gilbertson, as I know, I would say number 5 on a list of out of 20 or 25, but ranked fairly highly and of course made the list. Of course, there's more than 25. And for 2 years in a row has been recognized as a champion in higher education for the value that the faculty and staff have placed on developing transfer degrees, relevant transfer degrees for students, and a great record of accreditation. So I just want to put that out there that, there's some tremendous things happening at the school. And I think oftentimes we lose sight of the great work that's been done. This is an opportunity to build off of that work. And we look forward to doing that. But I think the community needs to talk about, the school and talk about the work that's been done and really feel proud about it. And if you need more details and data, we got data for you. And we want to make sure that people are served well by our institutions. And we certainly want to make sure that there's that sense of pride in Evergreen Valley College, because it should be there. Great work's been done over the years to grow that institution and such tremendous potential, which is why, I know the passion is clear as to why you speak about how things are done and how we need to continue serving the community, but just not to lose sight of the great things that have been done. So I want to end with that. And I don't know if there are any other housekeeping items, Matt or Ryan, Terrence, or anything that we did not cover or make sure we mention for this group for next steps. I think the other, just Dr. Brindley, just a reminder for everyone that we do want to continue getting feedback, providing information out, and that having all of your email addresses is important. So I know a number of those were flowing through the chat. I know there's additional comments which will be recorded, and that we are, and please also enter into that form or click on the link and use that website so that we can collect that information for feedback. That is also a tool that will be continued and will have opportunities for us to continue to solicit feedback as well. Excellent. Okay. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. I hope that you're well and safe. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we look forward to a time where we can meet and be in person. And this is not over. We do want to continue with the process of engaging the community. Make sure all voices are heard as we continue to get the feedback and analyze information and do, again, the best thing that we can do with the opportunity that we have. So again, thank you all for the time that you spent with us this morning. Much appreciated. Take care.
Thank you, Evan. Appreciate your time.
There's still time to put your email in the chat if you haven't.